Moving on to the top story that we are following on the channel since yesterday. For the second day in a row, Air India cancels India-US flights. At least 8 flights have in fact been cancelled. This due to 5G rollout in the US. Indian aviation regulator DGCA has said that they are closely monitoring the situation. Meanwhile, US Aviation, the FAA, has issued new approvals allowing commercial fleet to perform low visibility landings at airports where 5G is deployed. Airlines worldwide have raised safety concerns over 5G network as the high-speed internet uses frequencies close to the ones that help aircraft measure altitude. It's possible interference with the aircraft's instruments can be a serious hazard. I'm joined on the show by Wing Commander Praful Bakshi, who is in fact joining us as an aviation expert. Wing Commander Bakshi, thank you so much for sparing your time and speaking to us on this very important issue. First thing, that although we have in fact covered this, it's been the second day in a row that we are seeing this. But for the benefit of our viewers, if you could just tell us what are the problems that a pilot might be facing because of 5G deployment around the airport area or, for takeoff or landing.
Good morning and thank you very much. Well, you must understand that when aircraft is depending on the ground instruments and ground transmission, so obviously the radio frequencies come into play. When the radio frequency and the system of aircraft gets affected by the frequencies, so much so that the inaccuracy is now inducted in the systems of the aircraft, and especially in certain frequencies which 5G deploys, then it becomes very dangerous. Whether it is coming into land, whether it is approaching a long approach in the bad weather, or it is taking off, or even when they are flying next to each other. There's so many applications can be there of 5G instrumentation. If this be so, then it affects the flight safety, as you had heard for the latest incident which took place. And let me tell you one thing, that when the radar is operating and the aircraft appear as the blips, and a controller, alert controller can see what is happening if they're watching the radar. And that is why so many times controllers have themselves averted disasters. It could have been done in the Chakri Dadri case also. But question here lies is that you cannot impose these difficult situations on day-to-day basis affecting the passengers. So flights have to be cancelled. Now, I believe America is reassuring that they are putting instrumentations compatible to the aircraft instrumentation so that the radio frequencies don't jam each other. This is what is called inadvertent cyber operations. This is what cyber operations also do. So question is, we have to be very careful. The commercialization of the whole system actually impinges upon the flight safety requirements. And this I have seen. This becomes the duty of the DGCA to impose themselves onto the airlines if they find that their operations are going to hinder the flight safety of the normal passengers and the citizenry of the country.
Right. Wing Commander, what do you think needs to be done right now? We've seen that the US regulators, the US aviation regulators, of course, are trying to maintain a situation where at least, certain flights are being allowed to land or take off. I mean, they are trying to ensure that at least a part of the aviation, the US airlines, which have in fact been affected because of 5G as well, that they are able to operate. But what can in fact be done? Like, does Air India or other flights from India which are operating to the US need to wait it out? What would be the best precaution or the best next step to take at the moment?
This is a direct involvement of the Aviation Authority of India and the Aviation Authority of America and other countries. This has to be done. You cannot do it to airline, and you cannot wait for that to happen because airlines, as I told you, are profit oriented. You have to see the whole aspect through the safety of your national citizenry, and that is what I am telling you. Your DGCA, FAA, all these agencies must sit together. The aviation minister must come into play, the aviation secretary. Now, probably provided these people understand the intricacies. That is why we have always been saying and always being imposing that the people who are experts in the field must come into play. That is the zone of expertise. The expert must come into play. Tell American authorities, you cannot do this. This is the reason. Immediate meetings must take place, and then the problem can be solved. Yes, representation of the airline must be there. There is no doubt about it.
Right, Wing Commander Praful Bakshi, thank you so much for joining us on that very important story that we have been following on the channel, how 5G rollout in the US has hampered airlines' operations, and Air India specifically has in fact been putting out information how their flights have been cancelled for the second day in a row because of this.